Welcome to DentiMax. One of the most important tools your office can be armed with is the security settings in DentiMax. In this video, I'll show you how to set up DentiMax so that you can assign allowances to your staff based on their job description and be able to track or audit what changes each staff member is making in regards to appointments, patient records, ledger items, and prescriptions. The first step would be creating users in your system. To do so, we click on Setup, and this top left box, click on Setup Users. We've got 4 different user logins and passwords, and they each have their own security level assigned to them. You'll notice here that the doctor has security level 1. 1 is the highest level of security, and 5 is the lowest level of security that you can set up. You may be asking, what does security level 1 mean? Or perhaps what does level 5 mean? And after we set up the users, I'll show you how to define what those different security levels equate to. In doing so, keep in mind that different roles in the office should have different security levels based on the functions that they'll be performing every day. So to create a new user, you simply click on New User from your Options menu. The user login can be their first or last name, or perhaps a nickname if they prefer. And then the name here is going to be who's using that login. The password you set up can be generic, and this user can change their login upon logging in for the first time. I'm just going to keep it generic and type in Smile. Jennifer Bates, let's assume, is the office manager. So perhaps I wouldn't want her to have the same security rights as the doctor, but I would want her to be able to do most everything in your system since she'll need to in order to run the practice efficiently. We'll go ahead and give her security level 2, and you can choose if this user is going to be getting those pop-ups on the screen that would indicate alert notes, medical alerts, and medications for every patient. The next button down is to force the user to change the password. So unless your staff is there with you at this moment creating their own password, then you may want to go ahead and make sure this box is checked so they'll have a prompted opportunity to change their password to something that they'll remember. We'll go ahead and click Save Changes now, and you can see Jennifer Bates is listed in our computer system as a user for DentiMax. We'll go to File and log in as another user. The login once again was Office MG, and the password was Smile. We'll click OK. She's prompted to put in the old password, which again was Smile, and then she can create her new password from here. The passwords that your staff creates can be a combination of letters, numbers, or characters, and there's no minimum amount of digits that they have to enter here. Once they're done choosing, we'll just click Change. And now Jennifer's password has been changed. Now that step 1 is out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at step 2. So once again, under our Setup button, look at this top left box and we'll click on Setup Security. This is where we define what level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 mean to us. It's nice to have a cheat sheet of your staff members' names and the security level that you assign to them, so when you're looking at these different options, you can decide who needs to be able to do that in your practice. The first section is patient information. We'll go ahead and click on the plus sign, and you'll be able to see the action available under patient information. We have a new patient information screen, edit a patient information screen, delete a patient information screen, or view a patient's chart. Obviously, level 1 once again is our doctor, and we're going to want him to be able to do all of that. Level 2 is the office manager and the front office staff, and this is pretty much the focus of what they do day in and day out. Level 3 security is our back office assistants, and it would be valuable for them to be able to edit a patient's information, such as their address or a new phone number if that needed to be updated, but perhaps we wouldn't want them to be able to delete a patient information screen. Sometimes these security levels are going to be set based on your staff's knowledge level as well. They may not realize that deleting a patient information screen can delete a patient out of your database. So this can also be a fail-safe method in order to make sure that nothing happens unintentionally. Viewing the chart, I would go ahead and allow all security levels to be able to do that. Currently, we don't have anyone listed under security level 5, but an example of who you would give that to would maybe be a substitute hygienist for the day that's not in your office regularly. The next section down is transaction. Creating a new, editing, or deleting should definitely be security level 1 and 2. Modifying a completed transaction, you may also only want security levels 1 and 2 to be able to do that. Seeing the fees for the office, that can be the doctor's personal preference. And taking in a new patient payment or a new insurance payment and posting those typically will fall to the front office to handle, but we can let the doctor have access to do that as well. It's easy to go through and just check or uncheck a button next to the box that you want based on their security level, and just continue on through the list of items here. Once you've completed setting up all of the security features, you'll want to go ahead and save your changes. The last featured item to take a look at today is the Audit Trail report. We'll start by going to our Reports button and select Audit Report. The Audit Report tracks the changes that are made in the computer and tracks the keystrokes made as well. We'll go ahead and preview this report to take a deeper look. You have some filter options here on how you want to run this. Our date range will be the beginning of the week up through today, but if you had a specific transaction that you wanted to check up on to find out who posted it, you could choose that one specific day to run the audit report for. Obviously, the more information you know, if you're looking for something specific, the better it is to input these other fields. If you don't know who performed the function, you can simply leave this blank, but you can see that based on our users and their logins, we have the option to find out who did what action. Type is some of the things that the computer's tracking. When a transaction is made, a deposit, an appointment, or a prescription. The next section is action, and this is where you could choose what action the user took. The action is equal to created or made, changed would be modified to a different code, edited would have been simply editing what's already there. You also have the option to track items that have been printed. The old value represents what was there previously. So if a patient had a transaction that had previously said $5 and it was changed to $10, the old value would be $5. In order to show you a good example, I'm just going to leave all of these filters blank except for the date range, and we'll click on OK to generate that report. As I mentioned earlier, the computer tracks every keystroke that's made. So some of these items may look like duplicate items, but in fact, one of the users in the system has gone to that item and looked at it, or perhaps opened it to edit it but didn't make any changes. So the computer will be tracking all of those functions all day long. We'll go ahead and scroll down and look at a few good examples. Here's an example of an added appointment. The old value was empty because they did not have an appointment previously. The new value is an unconfirmed appointment added for this chart number. Here we have the patient name and the date that it happened, as well as the time. There's no user listed in this because we did not have users entered into the computer system before this appointment got added. Let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit further. Here's page 10 of our audit report showing the last week's data. You can see that our front office person changed an appointment for Robert Johnson from July 8th to July 13th. And that happened at 8:10. The operatories, or the rooms, stayed the same, and the provider also stayed the same. So if an appointment disappears on you or gets moved, this might be one way to go and find out who moved the appointment and ask them why if it wasn't requested by the patient. Here's a perfect example of a keystroke being tracked without any changes actually being made. If you take a look here, it says the item that was in question was changing of an appointment by the doctor. The old value was left a message and the new value was left a message. So nothing changed there. It's for the same chart number and the same patient. It happened on the same date, at the same time, the operatories are still the same, and that patient is still seeing the same provider. So it's clear that the doctor went and took a look at this and was going to change something, but didn't actually make any specific change to that appointment. If we look down a little bit further, you can see an appointment was deleted, and that happened by the doctor. It was an appointment that was not confirmed. It had a message left for it. It was for this chart number, William Grant, of course, on July 13th at this time of day, and he was taken out of that operatory and off of the schedule for this provider. The audit trail helps protect you and helps you understand what's happening in the office on a regular basis. There's also some other great information that the audit report can be used for, which is helping to find a deleted appointment that was deleted by accident, or if you changed a procedure code and can't remember what it was previously set at and you were wrong in changing it. This is a good way to go back and take a look at that. This will also track your prescriptions and those that get added, edited, or deleted out of the system. Setting up the users and setting up the security all ties into being able to run this audit report. If you have any questions pertaining to the audit report and how to interpret it, or how to simply choose who gets what security level in your office, please feel free to contact DentiMax at 1-800-704-8494. Thank you.